Yo, Steel Mills, what's the deal, man? Peep game. Oh, fuck. My Nebraskan and people in Iowa. This raspberry lemonade at Casey's, bro. I'm telling you, that shit is straight fuego, puro fuego. But I want to. Are you? I don't think. Fuck it. Let's get right into it. I don't think that you're like I've been. I said it before. I've been criticized and deemed as a Tyson Fury apologist just because I'm critical of Deontay Wilder. And that's a narrative we got to get out of the way, man. Like, you can be critical of one if we're speaking on a particular subject, and I'm speaking directly on what we're talking about, and I'm giving you resistance on what we're talking about. That doesn't mean I condone the fuckery of the other party that we're not talking about. So in this instance, if we're talking about Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury, just because I don't think Tyson Fury cheated him, that doesn't make me a fan of Tyson Fury. Just because I'm critical of Deontay Wilder, that does not make me, that does not make me sing the praises of a Tyson Fury. It doesn't. We really need to get out of that narrative and really start to comprehend shit, man. And I know, everybody has their issues with this, because when you're emotionally invested in something or somebody, if you're going out of your way, I can understand why a motherfucker would think that I'm really banging for the other side because of how hard I'm going on this individual. When in actuality, I'm not a fan of Tyson Fury. His boxing skill is elite, clear as day. There should be no reason why a 6'9" man moves like that at damn near 300 pounds. There's no reason for that. His boxing acumen is unquestionably serious. You can't deny it. But that does not in any way, shape, or form make me a fan of him. Like, I'm not a fan of dude. I'm not. I've been Team Joshua since he beat Vladimir Klitschko. I've always been in the corner of Anthony Joshua. That is my nigga right there. And I was actually pulling slightly for Tyson Fury until I heard all of the shit that I've said it before, I'm not a fan of any non-black person saying nigga. I'm not. What you say in the privacy of your own home is your own business, man. I can't correct you on that shit. I can't call you out on that shit if I don't ever hear it. But if I see it in my face, you ought to know. Everybody on this fucking planet at least who can speak English knows. That word is it's a soreness that's attached to that word. And despite some Negroes not giving a fuck about you saying it, man, you can say that shit. You'll have every excuse as to why we shouldn't say it. Fuck them niggas. It's a whole nother side of the spectrum of people who do care about that. I'm one of them. I'm not as boisterous when I hear it. Like, the minute I hear somebody saying that shit, you Spanish motherfuckers, if I hear y'all saying that, I immediately draw a line in the sand. Like, I'm not gonna completely tune y'all. It'll take, because I just want, because I want to be cool with everybody. I do. But the minute I hear that shit, I draw my line in the sand and I start distancing myself slowly but surely. And it eventually just get to a point where I'm just like, I'm good. Like, don't even, I'm good. I'll tune you out. I'll tune you out, because I don't want to have to deal with me having to correct you on the shit. Because if you're a motherfucker who feels that you're entitled to say that shit, or if you say some shit like, oh, well, my grandmother is black, that's gonna be a problem. That's a problem with me. Oh, I grew up around, I don't give a fuck. This Mexican homeboy from my hood, I don't want to hear from him. I just can't do it. It's bad enough that we say it, but that's our problem. There's black people who don't like other black people saying nigga. So why would any non-black person feel they have clarity to say that? They have jurisdiction to use that shit because of the music that they listen to and the culture that they grew up around and the homies that they deal with. No, I'm not a fan of it. So Tyson Fury is not exempt from that. Whatsoever. Fucking ever. And to add insult to injury to that, when he told Deontay Wilder, I own you. That I completely was, I'm good on dude. I'm good. I'm 100% good on dude. I give a fuck less about Tyson Fury. But with me not giving a fuck less about homeboy, that doesn't mean I think that he cheated to wait to beat Deontay Wilder. It just doesn't. People gotta know how to use, you know what I'm saying, separate their emotion from facts. A lot of people get so they're so, they get so emotional with, with the particular individual that they can't separate it from the facts of the case. So me being critical of Deontay Wilder and a lot of the pandering that he's been doing to these YouTube platforms who are, on this new path of enlightenment, just because I'm critical of that, that automatically makes me in favor of Tyson Fury. No, not at all. That makes me a Deontay Wilder hater. No, I'm not. I don't hate the dude. I don't hate him. As a boxing man, do I strongly dislike how he caters to the sport? Absolutely. I have a huge disdain for how he does the sport. I think he's done a huge disservice to the sport. I think he's sullied the sport. He didn't take it serious. He allowed his natural gifts and athleticism supersede. Even when you look at Roy Jones did a lot of things wrong technically. Not necessarily punching technique or nothing like that in defense, but it was, he always threw the lead left hook. He didn't have a good jab. He did not have a good jab. And that is the first thing you learn in boxing. So naturally, when your athletic capabilities start to severely dissipate, what else do you have to rely on? You can't close distance as quick as you could with a lead left hook from the outside. You'll start to get time. That's what happens with Father Time. So I'm not a fan of Deontay Wilder. I'm not. I love the fact that the brother is coming into enlightenment. I love the fact that brother is comfortable in his dark skin. I do. But from a boxing standpoint, no. 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 I do not like the fact that he was able to duck a lot of mandatories. He was able to get out of a lot of mandatories. He got out of a fight with Dillian White because of a beat that he had with Dominic Brazil. I do not like that shit. And I was arguing with the homie about that. Dominic Brazil was just mandatory. I'm like, no, the fuck he wasn't. It was a nigga that they put in front of him. To become a mandatory, you have to go through the rankings. You have to chop down all contenders within a sanctioning body to become a title contender within that sanctioning body. WBC, WBO, IBF, WBA, all of those sanctioning bodies, you chop down the competition in that body. So you work up you work your way to the #1 spot, and boom, now you have a title shot. You have an opportunity to achieve a goal, a milestone in the sport. You know how many motherfuckers don't reach championship stature? They never become champions? That shit is hurtful. That's the ultimate goal as a boxer. You want to become a world champion. So I think he was able to get out of 10 title defenses. 10 title defenses. Only 2. Only 3. 3 of them were were worthy opponents. 2, no, I'm tripping. 2 of them were worthy opponents. You've had 4 fights between the 2 of them. And Tyson Fury wasn't even a fucking mandatory. He wasn't a mandatory. That man went on a fucking, a 4 or 5 year coke binge and all that shit. He wasn't a mandatory. He had to work his way back up. And you allegedly, this is a theory, but there was people feel that was a cherry pick gone wrong. He wasn't a mandatory. He's been able to get out of the way of fighting mandatories since he's been a champion. Since he's been a champion, he's been allowed to get away with title unification since he's been a champion. Literally, he's been baby. That's what his manager said. Sorry, Frank Warren is Tyson Fury's manager, not Shelly Finkel. I said that wrong. I just remembered that. But he's been able to do that shit since he became a champion. And when AJ goes and he honors his belts, or he honors the obligations that come with being a champion, which is fighting his mandatories. He gets knocked for that. Even Wilder's doing it to him now. Oh man, he already talking about mandatories. No. He has no choice but to fight a mandatory now that the nigga who he was finna fight is wrapped up in a fight. Alright, cool. Let me get this man out of the way, so that way after y'all fight, I fight a month after, maybe what, a month of change after y'all, there's no excuses. I need that last strap, my nigga. So yes, he's been a nigga who's somewhat sullied the sport. Relied on a big right hand on lower tier competition outside of Luis Ortiz and Bermane Stiverne. Out of 40 plus fights, you got one belt off of Bermane Stiverne, and then you got Luis Ortiz. So he's done a lot of goofball bullshit, but nobody wants to see past the fact that he has a tremendous right hand. Nobody wants to question who he's hit the right motherfuckers with the right hand with. Who are they? What are their rankings? Nobody wants to question that shit. Meanwhile, Anthony Joshua is doing what it is he got to do. He's honoring his obligations as a champion, and he gets shitted on. While Deontay Wilder gets all the praises sang to him. I don't like that. I'm overly critical of that. I don't like the fact that he wants to go in there and willingly kill somebody. I don't like that, even though you're legally within your rights to do so. If you want to kill somebody, and the fact that he said he wants to kill Tyson Fury, if you read between the lines, who's to say that he won't take certain precautions to do so? He hit Tyson Fury in the back of the head in the first fight, on the first knockdown. When you harbor that type of animosity towards a motherfucker, you don't know what you'll do. So I'm not a fan of Wilder as the boxer. In the ring and anything to do with the sport of boxing, I'm not a fan of his. I'm not. But I commend the brother wanting to, you know what I'm saying, walk in the path of enlightenment. I see nothing wrong with it. I think it's a beautiful thing. I think it's a beautiful thing. I think all brothers need to follow in his footsteps and do so. And hopefully the cats that are following him, who aren't even a fan of the sport, they take that path to, all right, cool, let me read a book. Let me start to pick up some Afrocentric literature. The ends will justify the means if they do that. So I wouldn't be mad at that. But that shit on a more personable level with him. I don't like motherfucking, when it comes to hip hop, I love hip hop. This is a beautiful culture. This is the most dominant culture in the world. If you're not trying to push the line or continue to set the standard of hip-hop culture, rap music is the dominant element within hip-hop culture. It's it generates the most money. It's like the second biggest money generator in the country. But because of that, you can find, motherfuckers have found a way to make money and still rap without being good. Like Soulja Boy. As somebody who's within the confines of hip-hop culture, I have a strong disdainment for him. I do. This is a precious culture. As a person, outside of hip-hop culture, I'm sure he's the coolest nigga in the world. I got dancer homies who performed in front of him and he walked up on him and was not even, but just like, yo, that was dope, that was dope. He's already a comedian. He's already a nigga that I'm like, hey man, call that nigga Soulja, man, tell him slide. Because dude is funny as fuck. And even entrepreneurship, how he was able to do, the lane he created with YouTube. That shit is dope. That shit is dope. That created a lane where it's cats who are dope with their pen are able to thrive at. I'm a huge battle rap fan. Battle rap thrived off of YouTube. Look at where it's at now. So, because of him, we have him to thank for that. However, as far as hip-hop is concerned, he was very problematic. That doesn't mean I hate the man outside of the culture. Just like I don't hate Deontay Wilder outside of the culture, outside of boxing. But within the confines of the sport, I draw the line. I can't fuck with it. I cannot fuck with it. You can't disrespect Mike Tyson and Big. Nah, that's unacceptable. But with me hating him, not hating, but with me having a disliking for him, that doesn't mean I'm an apologist for Tyson Fury. It just doesn't. It doesn't. Like, you gotta be. You can't be neutral. You gotta. If you hate one, that means you must love the other. There's no way possible you can be critical of both of them. You understand? Nigga, no. I'm not a fan of Tyson Fury. I'm not a fan of him. Tyson Fury is a dude that in the ring, I respect him. Outside of the ring, I borderline hate that motherfucker. Maybe not hate him, but I have a strong disliking of what it is. I don't like it. I strongly dislike it. Because you ought to know how problematic what you did was. There's no way you can convince me that you didn't know that. There's no way on earth you can convince me of that. There's no way on earth you can say, I mean, I'm just singing a song. You hear the tag. You're not about it. You're on social media, fam. You're on social media. And you've seen how people get drugged for saying the word nigga who are not black. You see it. You see more and more black people becoming boisterous about, I'm really uncomfortable with you saying that word. I don't like it. You see it. So you can't convince me that you didn't know that. I was just singing a song. It don't fucking matter. Me personally, I'm not a LGBT advocate whatsoever. I despise that movement just because of how disrespectful and disruptive they are. So them as a political machine, I hate that. I hate them. But that's them as a machine within the people within that community who aren't writing the policies or whatever. Regular everyday gay people, I have no issues with them whatsoever. And it's to the point where I've eradicated. I may have told y'all, but I've eradicated the F-bomb out of my vocabulary. You gotta think, just that's just how we talk, man. You maggot. I don't even say it in rap. I've formulated my brain to be like, nah, this is a no-no word. Because there's no way you can explain, man, I don't mean it like that. It don't matter. If I say that shit in front of a gay man, they reserve every right to be offended. If I say it on here, and a gay man just so happens to come across me saying that shit on here, he's gonna feel some type of way about that. So I eradicate it. That's the least I can do. Because we already bump heads because it's an ideological dispute. And like they don't fit. A lot of them are really uncomfortable with the fact that I don't bow down and cower to them when they try to hoard their viewpoints and talking points over me. No, I have counterpoints. I have resistance that I'm gonna give you. We are gonna have a respectful conversation about this. We're gonna talk. We're gonna talk, and I'm not gonna disrespect you. The only one who's more than likely gonna be disrespectful is you because you're not used to hearing somebody give you resistance. You will not be disrespected. I'm not gonna call you anything disparaging, none of that shit. I'm just gonna challenge it. I'm gonna challenge your stance. I am, because it's getting to a point where it's very disruptive. Respectfully, we're gonna have a respectful conversation, unless you can't take what it is that I'm saying. And that is what it is. But the very least I can do for them is stop saying the F-bomb. Don't call gay masculine females dykes. Don't do that. I didn't know that was a derogatory term. Took it out of my vocabulary. You'll never hear that word from me again. So that just is what it is, man. So you're not about to convince me, Tyson Fury, an English-speaking man, that you didn't know how insidious you saying the word nigga online is, despite you rapping it in a Biggie song, or you telling Deontay Wilder, I own you. That shit will never be cool with me. So I do not like it. I don't fuck with Tyson Fury. I don't think I can specify that enough. I do not like Tyson Fury. But I do think he's going to this. He's going to beat the shit out of Deontay Wilder because he's just the better boxer. That just is what it is. Why? I know how to separate feelings and emotion from reality. You can't bring your feelings into the ring. Cassidy told Hitman Holla that you can't bring them followers in the ring. They can't rap for you. You can't bring your feelings and emotions in the ring and think that's gonna fucking give you extra. That's going to replace skill set. If you had the feelings and the emotion and skill set, it'd be a different ball game. But you ain't got all that. All this is everything that you're saying is based off and steeped in emotion. Nah, homie, that ain't the move. That ain't enough. So I'm good. But I really need to clarify that, man, because niggas really be getting the game fucked up. I cannot specify enough. I'm not a Tyson Fury supporter. I'm not a Tyson Fury fan. None of that shit. It's now more so than ever. Anything I talk about, I'm talking about boxing. And if I'm talking about Deontay Wilder and I'm critical of Deontay Wilder, that does not mean I am a fan of Tyson Fury, because I am not. I'm not a fan of him. I'm not. So don't. It's about time we put that narrative to bed. Just because a nigga's critical of LeBron, that doesn't mean he's a Kobe fan. Just because a nigga's critical of Michael Jordan, that doesn't mean he's a LeBron fan. Just because the nigga's critical of Joe Montana, that doesn't mean he's a Tom Brady fan. I mean, we can do this all day. Just because a nigga's critical of Biggie doesn't mean he's a Tupac fan. Do you understand? Let's get out of this mindset that because you banging on him so you must like him. No. No. I respect Tyson Fury's boxing acumen. I don't respect Deontay Wilder's. But Deontay Wilder is my brother outside of the ring. I respect that. But outside of the ring, I do not respect Tyson Fury. If you can't comprehend that, then goddamn it, I don't know what to tell you. Because I don't think I could have explained it any better than what I just did, you bitch ass niggas. Shout out my nigga Twin. That bitch ass nigga remark wasn't to you, because you the main one who be saying, oh man, you a Fury apologist? Nah, homie. You know, you be praising Tyson Fury, and nah, homie. It ain't none of that whatsoever. So I had to clarify that, man. Y'all niggas let me know what y'all think in the comment section, man. I look forward to reading all that. Peace.